Hey guys, I'm calling this Mom Minutes because this is so important, the minutes that us moms spend with our kids. So I'm actually in the garage gym right now because my son asked me if we could do a workout. Now, the thing about kids that we know is that they have those short attention spans. Some days I can give him a workout and he does great, and other days I try to tell him things to do and he decides he wants to do his own thing, which is totally fine. Okay, so I'm just kind of starting to do my own thing here, and I'm starting with kind of like a warm-up with hip crossovers. This is just like one of those things that's good to loosen up the hips before you start working out. So you're just going to lay on the ground and keep your knees together and keep your heels as close to your legs, like the back of your legs, as you can. And you're just slowly going from one side over to the other. Make sure that your shoulder blades stay on the ground. Keep your upper body just nice and flat against the ground. Now, if you notice, you can see that Venture, my son, he's joined me now. And that's the neat thing about when you just start kind of doing a workout, you'll notice that your kids will just want to kind of join you and do the same thing. So now I have Tolly. I'm just trying to show you, if you have a little one that's little like Tolly, you can still work out with them, and just it's kind of fun, like making them part of the workout. So there's going to be times where you're working out on your own and you do need to get some of those workouts in by yourself, but us moms, like, we can't always just get everything in on our own. We need to find things that we can do with our kids, and just, I don't know, I guess it makes it a little more efficient that way. You're spending your time with your kids and you're getting your workout in and you're showing them how to live a healthy life. Now, right here, I am doing glute raises, which is going to work the hamstrings and the glutes. And I'm just trying to lift my hips up to the ceiling as high as I can. You're going to really feel that isolate the hamstrings. It also helps your knee joint. It helps keep those knees strong, because women and females in general really have more knee problems than males do, just because our hips are a little wider, and then there's more stress put onto our knees. And so by strengthening those hamstrings back there in that outer quad, really helps prevent knee injuries in women, more specifically, actually in everyone, but especially in women and in girls. So as you can see, I'm doing glute raises with Tolly. So that would just be like holding a dumbbell on your hips. It gives you a little bit of weight, and you'll feel the difference there. And you see that my toes are up, so I'm dorsiflexing, and that changes the angle of the exercise a little bit too. So now I've moved into crunches. I just have my legs straight up in the air. You get them as straight as you can, and you're just trying to touch your fingertips to your toes. And that's all these exercises I'm doing, I'm just kind of making them up as I go, because it depends on, I'm trying to do everything on the floor. I'm down there with the kids, and then now Tolly, I have her up there, and so of course I can't go straight up with my reaching my fingertips to my toes, so I kind of hold my hands out a little bit. So the key is just involving your kids, but being able to modify, you just want to keep moving. So here, I just went into some hip extensions, just one at a time, alternating. And this is great for the hips, and you might feel it a little bit in your abs also, especially if you lift your shoulder blades up off the ground a little bit, then you're gonna feel a little more ab work there. But oh gosh, this will really burn out those hip flexors, this one. And again, I'm just going through some different things just to give you guys some ideas of the kinds of things that you can be doing with your kids. And Sometimes I'm counting the reps, and sometimes I'm just going through. I'm not even counting the reps. I'm just talking to the kids. I'm just getting some time in with them as well. So now we're going into the jackknife abs, is what I call this one. You're just, your feet and your hands come back at the same time, and then they come back up and meet up at the top. This is really going to get the abs. Really, it's just the whole core. And you're going to feel it in the hip flexors. This one, we're not holding any weight, but you can hold a dumbbell, or you can hold your child, depending on how big your child is. When Tolly was a little bit smaller, I used to do this one with her. She's getting a little too big for me to hold her on this one, though, now. Okay, so the next one, I'm going into a glute raise march. I'm going to keep my hips high up to the ceiling, and I'm just going to alternate legs coming up. It's just a variation of a glute raise. That one did not last very long because now Tolly has come over and wants some attention. So, but yeah, you can just keep doing that one. That one's hard to do with the baby. It's hard to set a weight on your hips or to set the baby on your hips and do that one. Just that's a little awkward. So that's one you can do on your own. So one thing I want to say is when you're doing these exercises with your kids and you're not really holding heavy weights and things like that, you can go high rep on these, and you don't even have to count your reps necessarily, but you can just go until you burn out. So like, for example, if you're doing abs, you just keep going until your abs burn out and you can't do anymore, or until, you know, you're interrupted with the baby or your child or whatever. Now, abs have primarily slow twitch fibers in there, which means that for abs, anything with slow twitch fibers means those are those endurance fibers, okay? So on those ones, you want to go like high rep, and you want to just burn those out. Muscles that have primarily slow twitch fibers are abs and calves. Now, the shoulders are also, a lot of people don't realize this, but shoulders actually are very high, have a very high percentage of slow twitch fibers. Now, all the rest of the muscles are pretty much 50-50, like half slow twitch, half fast twitch. Okay, so now I've got Tolly again, and I'm just showing you here how you can do chest presses. And the only reason I'm doing this is really, I know you can't see it because of the camera angle, but she has a great big smile on her face. She just loves these. And so I'm just gonna like press her as long as she's happy, and I'll just like keep going because she weighs maybe 19 or 20 pounds, so it's not that big a deal. I'm just going to keep pressing her until she's done with it, which looks like she got kind of bored with that. She's ready to move on. Okay, so now I know, crazy, I'm going into another variation of a glute raise, and I think I'm just doing these because they're easy. They're on the floor and I'm in the position for them. So this one is a straight leg glute raise. So your legs are just as straight as you can make them, and you're just lifting those hips up to the ceiling again. Now this one is pretty difficult. You're gonna really feel that one. It's so isolating on those hamstrings. So the straighter your legs are on any kind of glute raise, the harder the exercise is going to be. So now I've turned around, I'm going to actually go into an ab stretch here. And this actually kind of stretches out the lower back a little bit too, but you just kind of lay on your stomach and then lift yourself up on your hands so that just your hips are on the floor and you really feel a stretch through those abdominals. I'm keeping my head straight here, but then if you want, you can look up there, and now I'm kind of looking up. You can get a little more stretch through, almost like through the spine there, and then you can see how I went up on my toes, and that puts a little more stretch into the lower back. But that one I want you to only do if you have like a healthy low back. Now I'm coming back, And this is going to be a great stretch for that upper back. This one just feels good. And again, if your knees are healthy, great. Sometimes I know in the past I've had knee issues, and this one I can't do because at that time I could not bend my knees. But if your knees are good, then that's a great one. Okay, so the next one, I'm just going onto my hands and knees, and I'm going to do bird dogs. And this one is really great for the lower back. And this is one that you can do. You can extend your right arm and your left leg at the same time and do all your reps on that side, and then just switch to the other side and do them that way. Or you can alternate. You can extend the right hand and the left foot and then stop, and then extend the left hand and the right foot. And it doesn't feel like much when you're doing it, but it actually does help strengthen the low back. And if you're having low back pain, this is a good one just to get some blood flow back there and help it feel a little better. Now this one, I'm just lifting up, my knees are off the ground, so I'm on my hands and feet. And this is a great stretch just to hold that, or you can also do the knee taps, and I'm just tapping the opposite knee. And that's another good core and low back exercise. I'm just kind of all over the place here doing some different things, but Venture, my son, is toward the bottom there. You can't really see him, but he's doing a dumbbell press just with one dumbbell though. So it's kind of nice because then when these kids start seeing you do things, they'll start copying it, and they'll just go out there and start doing things, and you realize, like, wow, they learned that from me, you know? Now I am going into a hip flexor and ab exercise. So you're just holding yourself up and you're alternating legs, keeping them straight, keeping those hips high up to the ceiling when you do that. Now I'm going back into a stretch. Now this one, I love this stretch. It's one of my favorites. It's going to stretch out the chest and the front part of the delts, that front shoulder area. But this one, you just try to go back as far as you can. And you might not even be able to go back that far. Any of these stretches, you'll notice when you start, your flexibility might be horrible and you can't go that far. But as you're consistent and you're doing them every day, you're going to get better at them. So on this stretch, I want you to grab the inside of your feet and pull back. Now, if you bend your knees a little bit, that'll help you to really be able to pull back and give that upper back a really good stretch. This is one of my favorite stretches right here. This, when your legs are straight, you're going to feel it more in the hamstring. But when you bend those legs, and now I've grabbed the outside of the foot, you know, it hits it at a little bit different angle. But once you bend those legs and you really pull back, you're going to really feel that big time in the back. And this is just such a great stretch for your back. A lot of people want to stretch out their back, but they don't know how. Now this one, I'm grabbing the top of my feet and kind of like pulling my toes back. And this is really going to get those hamstrings and the glutes. This is another good stretch. And again, the more consistent you are with stretching, the better your flexibility is going to get. If you just take that little bit of extra time after your workout, each time you work out, doing that is going to make a huge difference. Huge. And it's something we really need, especially people that sit a lot, that sit at a computer, or, you know, as you're aging. This is really going to help you age much better. I'm trying to think the right way to say it. Well, let me take a minute and tell you what this is. This is a bicep stretch, okay? So I'm just putting my fingertips back toward me and then pushing out. You'll feel that in the biceps. That's a hard muscle to get to in order to stretch it. But yeah, you're gonna age much slower when you stretch and when you work out and when you eat right. I mean, it just all goes together. You're gonna feel fantastic. This one is a shoulder stretch. This is great for, just getting those, that whole head of the shoulder stretched out. And then this one, I'm just reaching up to the sky as high as I can, trying to lengthen that spine. And then I'm just kind of tilting over to one side. And then I'm going to tilt to the other side. But anything you can do to really raise your hands up and push your hands up to the sky is going to be great for your spine. We want to lengthen that. I see so many people as they age, they get shorter. And I'm always worried about that for myself because, I'm already not that tall and I don't want to get short as I get older. So I'm always trying to just stretch out and really reach and lengthen everything. These are all great stretches here. I'm trying to think what else I need to tell you guys. This one is good for the glutes and then the inner thigh. So my left leg on the inner thigh is getting a really good stretch right there. And then of course the glutes are getting a good one too. And this is kind of an easy one to do. Everything's just laying down on the ground. You always want to stretch when your muscles are warm, okay? Because it's like taffy. You don't want to stretch cold muscles because, it's like cold taffy. If you try to stretch that, it breaks off. When it's warm, it's gooey and it stretches. So that's how our bodies are also. So we want to make sure we stretch when we're nice and warm just so that we don't pull anything or injure anything. Okay, so in just a minute, I'm going to go into a lengthening stretch. What I was talking about keeping yourself nice and lengthened out, trying to keep yourself tall. This next one I'm going to do is so good for just lengthening out, straightening out that spine. So I'm laying on the ground and I'm reaching as high as I can with my fingers tips. I just want to reach back as far as I can, and then I'm reaching my toes as far the other way as I can. I'm trying to make myself as long as possible. This is such a good stretch. This is something that all of us should do every day. Especially with the way we're on phones or computers and we're looking down, and this is just a way to get that all stretched back out. Now I'm hitting the calves here. This is really a good stretch for the calves. Never bounce your stretches, always hold them. It's called a static stretch because static means still. You just want to hold that. Now, one technique is you can stretch as far as you can, what you're comfortable with, and then just keep that nice, slow, controlled breathing. And every time you exhale, just go a little further down into the stretch. Okay, so I'm getting ready to do something that is called a walkout. So this is really good for hamstrings and lower back. You're just walking your hands out and then walking back. Now you're trying to keep those legs straight, but if you need to put a little bend in them, that's okay. And the more you do this, the better you'll get, the more your legs will start to stay straight. I know I got distracted and I'm not doing these anymore, but those walkouts are great for, 5 to 8 reps. That is a really good exercise to do. That's all I've got for you guys today, but if you have questions, any specific questions, anything that I can help you with, please put it in the comments below. And if you have ideas for other videos that would be helpful for you that I could make, please comment down below. Thank you so much for watching.